How's it going, everybody? JK Fantasy Football back with another video here. We're doing another mock draft today, but if you haven't guessed already, we have a special guest today. My brother Andrew. He's going to be joining us in the mock draft. Introduce
yourself. How you guys doing? I'm Andrew. I'm Jason's brother. Let's get to it.
All right, we're going to randomize the teams here and see what order we got. All right, so I'm going to be drafting from the 5, and it looks like Andrew secured the 10. How do you feel about the 10?
I mean, it could be worse, could be better, but you got to deal with what you get, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gotta love that turnaround. So, All right, we're gonna go ahead and start it up here. Let's see how this goes. So, to start it off, we got Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, 100% should be 1 and 2. Them falling this far is kind of crazy. If they fell to me, I would have been ecstatic. You got a few options here. You're Austin Eckler. That's probably the top RB on the board here. Personally, I have Justin Jefferson as my wide receiver 1 heading into the season now. So with him falling to me at 5 here, I'm going to absolutely go ahead and scoop him. Let's see how the rest of the round follows. We got Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, Devontae Adams, Dalvin Cook. Andrew, talk to me. What are you doing?
Jason here. I think the Cooper Kupp at 1. Well, let's talk about that for a second.
Absolutely.
I think that's kind of interesting. I don't think we'll be seeing that too much.
Definitely will not be seeing that a lot. Nope.
I don't either. Devontae Adams is my guy, so I'm upset that he goes right there to team 8, but we're gonna have to make something happen here.
All right.
We have Joe Mixon if I want to go running back. If I want to go wide receiver, we have Jamar Chase and Stephon Diggs here. I'm not a huge fan of doing tight ends in the first, but I think one thing I'm going to try this year is work something out with Jamar. So we're going to go Jamar Chase here.
Nice, I like it.
And then with going into round 2 here, we're going to scoop Joe Mixon.
All right, you're getting that bangle.
Yep.
It's a risky one, but you know what? I like it. They're both excellent players. Should be both going in that first round. So yeah, absolutely. Then afterwards, you get Travis Kelce, Stephon Diggs goes to the Devontae Adams team, CD Lamb, DeAndre Swift. So it's back up to me now. Over here, it says the top running back available is Nick Chubb. You can't believe everything they tell you. I mean, you go down a little bit, you get, Alvin Kamara, but he's suspended. He's probably going to be suspended. So, I mean, Saquon Barkley is my top available running back, and then probably Aaron Jones, and then, you get Leonard Fournette. Like, Nick Chubb is way farther down. Sleeper has him way, way, way too high, in my opinion. But, you could also go Mark Andrews. I think it's a little too early to go Mark Andrews, but, I love Mark Andrews. So if you take him in the second round, definitely good value there. For wide receivers, my top wide receiver available right now is Mike Evans. I could go 2 wide receivers, but I'm probably going to stick to the running back here, get a solid running back 1. I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley. He's primed for a breakout.
Great pick, Jeff.
Thank you. So after Saquon goes, it goes Nick Chubb, Josh Allen in the second, which is way too early.
That's crazy.
Mark Andrews, Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara, Tyreek Hill, Javonte Williams, Zeke Elliott. So, I mean, we're back on the clock here. This is definitely a big break-off point. Leonard Fournette is the tier drop-off here. I could absolutely scoop Leonard Fournette and have 2 RBs and, Justin Jefferson as my wide receiver 1. Let's look to see what else is available. And Leonard Fournette being 260 pounds, that doesn't scare me. I mean, he's still got a month and a half to go. You can't believe all these reports. Tight end, Kyle Pitts. I love Kyle Pitts, but I think it's a little too early for me. Like I said before, Mike Evans is my highest wide receiver on the board. He's bound to absolutely have a year, especially the beginning half with Godwin potentially being out. I mean, only Tyreek Hill went for wide receivers. Running backs are going pretty heavy here, but we're going to go Mike Evans. So after I take Mike Evans, it goes Deebo Samuel, A.J. Brown, Kyle Pitts, James Conner. Andrew, it's up to you.
Well, let's see what we got here. We got Leonard Fournette is still on the board here. He is a good running back, so we'll definitely have to take into consideration here. You got Keenan Allen as your next wide receiver 1. Let's scroll down a little bit and see what we got here. I think we're definitely going to go Leonard Fournette.
Makes sense.
With this pick here.
Makes a lot of sense.
Just because he fell right to me. He fell right in my lap. So
End of the third round is gross.
Yeah, we're gonna pick up Leonard Fournette here. Let's see what else we got going on here. We could go Keenan Allen, or we.
I know you're not much of a Keenan guy.
I really am not a Keenan guy, and you know that.
I love Keenan Allen this year, but I know, opinions are opinions. So.
Yep. Yes, they are. Now, Keenan Allen, just even though I'm not a big fan of him, he's still a great wide receiver. So don't get me wrong there, but I'm definitely not reaching for him. That's for sure. One person I am big on this year, Jason.
Dude, if you say, hey, I'm taking T. Higgins and getting the 3 Bengals, I'm gonna smack you in the face.
Not who we're going. That's not who we're going. We're going to RB here.
Okay.
We're going Monty.
All right. I like it.
I love a little David Monty.
I like it a lot. So after he goes David Montgomery, great turn, by the way. Fournette, unbelievable. Mahomes, Akers, Keenan Allen, Breece Hall. I mean, if Keenan Allen just fell to me, I would have had to just take him. My wide receivers would have been absolutely disgusting. So let's take a look at what we got on the board here. My wide receivers can still be absolutely disgusting. T. Higgins, I don't know how he is still on the board, but it's definitely an option for me. So let me break this down for you. One of my favorite running backs to draft this year is Travis Etienne. I've talked about it in a few videos. In PPR scoring, he's got all of that receiving work. He is bound to just absolutely have a breakout year. James Robinson, we have no idea when he's going to be back. So normally I would go ahead and take Travis Etienne here, get my 2 running backs, get my 2 wide receivers. But if you take a look at the teams in front of me, 3 running backs, 2 running backs, a running back in Jonathan Taylor, 2 running backs. I definitely have a potential to have Travis Etienne come back to me. It's not very likely, but I think I would rather take a risk at someone who shouldn't have fallen this far with T. Higgins. And if Travis Etienne makes it back to me, I'm very happy. If not, I think we wait a little bit on RB. So let's go ahead and take T. Higgins and risk it here a little bit.
Love that move, Jay.
So we get Darren Waller, Antonio Gibson, Justin Herbert, George Kittle, DK Metcalf, Deontay Johnson, J.K. Dobbins, and Terry McLaurin. Just what I said.
There he is.
That. The risk pays off. Travis Etienne made it right back to me. So let's talk about another option we could have had here, right? So wide receiver position, Michael Pittman. Oh my God. Michael Pittman needs to be drafted, end of 4th, early 3rd even. Not early 3rd, late 3rd even. Michael Pittman is being so undervalued right now. But we are going to go ahead and take Travis Etienne here. I wanted the risk. The risk paid off. We had a great starting lineup.
Great pick, Jay.
Thank you. So after we take Etienne, it goes Michael Pittman, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Waddle. Really early on Joe Burrow there. I haven't really seen Joe Burrow go before Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts even. But you know what? It's whatever.
So here we're gonna stay away from the RBs for a second here. We got 3 great RBs in Mixon, Fournette, and Montgomery. So we're gonna look to the wide receivers. We get DJ Moore, who's now dealing with Baker. Is that correct, Jay?
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about that?
I'm a little bit higher on DJ Moore than a few people that I've seen. DJ Moore definitely has a much better quarterback now in Baker Mayfield. For some reason, as high as I am on him, sometimes I just can't pull the trigger. I traded a decent amount for him last year, and it didn't really pay off. So it's kind of hard to bite the bullet again, but we'll see.
That's exactly where I'm at with him too, Jay. And with that being said, I'm gonna go Jerry Jeudy with Russell Wilson behind him.
Okay.
I mean, you can't go wrong with Russell Wilson. I think he's gonna do great things in Denver. Who do we got else here? We got Josh Jacobs still here, which I think that's great value.
It is great value. Lately, he's been going in the 6th. I can't really explain it to you, but he should not be going, under Antonio Gibson and J.K. Dobbins. That just doesn't make sense.
Josh Jacobs is a great running back, and I think he's being drafted way later than he should be.
Yep.
And I think that can help some people if they give him the benefit of the doubt and scoop him up. You get a great running back with late value. I'm going to go with someone who really, really, really impressed me last year. And I hope he has a great year this year. We're going to go Mike Williams on the Chargers.
I like it. Let's circle back here. Personally, I've talked about it before, I think in my first video. I'm not a big fan of the Denver wide receivers this year, just personally. I think they're both going to do great. I think one of them is primed for a breakout year. I just don't know who, and I don't think I can take a risk on, my wide receiver too, but I love that you can. I think that's excellent. So, also, let's talk about Josh Jacobs one more time here. I think people are scared because he's on that last year of his contract. People are afraid, what are they going to do with him? Are they even going to use him that much? He's got a horrible O-line this year, a god-awful O-line. So there's a lot to worry about with Josh Jacobs. But in my opinion, if you have someone on the last year of their contract, run him into the ground. Get as much value as you can out of him. I think the Patriots are going to do the same thing with Damian Harris.
Flip side of that, Jay, I think Josh Jacobs has his back against the wall here, and he's got to run his way out.
Absolutely.
So when he gets the ball in his hands, I think he's gonna run as hard as he can.
Absolutely. All right, so we got 55 seconds here. Let's take a look at what we're gonna go with on our pick here. There's a lot of wide receivers I love in this range. Marquis Brown for the first 6 weeks. And then you can get some value by trading him high. You get Brandon Cooks, Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney, all going to have great years. We got our 2 RBs. No one really in the RB category impresses me. QB wise, you still got Kyler, you still got Jalen Hurts. They could both go off the board here, but it's all right. I'm personally going to take Marquis Brown. I don't think he should fall this low. I love Marquis Brown. Let's go ahead and take him here. So after I take Marquis Brown, it goes Chris Godwin, Courtland Sutton, Eli Mitchell, Kyler Murray, Michael Thomas, Miles Sanders, Dalton Schultz, Jalen Hurts. So yeah, exactly like I was saying, both the QBs went. If Kyler Murray made it back to me, we have that Kyler Murray, Marquis Brown stack now. I mean, that's just a given quarterback take right there. But let's talk about Eli Mitchell for a minute. I just saw a report pretty much right before I came on here saying that Kyle Shanahan is looking to use more of a committee this year, which he's been using a committee forever, but we thought this was the year Eli Mitchell was going to do big things in that offense. Because he's now making it a committee with Jeff Wilson and Tyrion Davis-Price, I can't take Eli Mitchell at his price. I can't do it anymore. RBs, A.J. Dillon. I love A.J. Dillon this year. You still got T.J. Hawkinson on the board. You still got Russell Wilson on the board. I'm okay waiting on a quarterback. I think we should go A.J. Dillon here. Get our third running back here. Aaron Jones, I love him this year. I've talked about him a lot. But A.J. Dillon has that potential to just absolutely destroy defensive linemen. I mean, he is a strong dude, and he gets in there at the goal line. I think he's an excellent person. If Etienne goes down, Saquon goes down, drop him in there. He's getting you points every week. Not enough for an RB1 quite yet because he's still in that committee, but I'm taking A.J. Dillon here.
I love the pick, Jay. I think A.J. Dillon's a great running back. I think he's a great reliever for Aaron Jones. I think they're gonna run the ball well together this year, and I can't wait to see what happens there in Green Bay.
Absolutely. So after I go A.J. Dillon, it goes Damian Harris, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks. Right back to you.
You know what I'm gonna do here, Jay?
Talk to me.
We're gonna scoop Hawkinson here.
All right.
He dropped very, very late here. He should have been picked up a long time ago, in my opinion. We need a tight end at this point, and he's there. So we're gonna pick him up on Detroit. I love his cap there. I think he can do great things in Detroit.
Yep.
And
I know where you're going.
You know exactly where I'm going.
I know exactly where you're going.
You know exactly where I'm going. And the reason you know exactly where I'm going is because you're my brother, and we've done plenty of these together. And we're taking Thielen.
I didn't know where you were going.
Wow, really?
Wow. I thought you were going to go Russell Wilson there, get the Jerry Jeudy stack.
Nope.
I'm surprised.
Nope. I had Russell Wilson last year.
Normally when you wait, yeah, I know, you did have Russell Wilson last year. It didn't really work out when he hurt his finger, but
staying away from him this year.
normally something I've noticed when I do drafts is it's kind of a bad habit, but when I wait on tight end and quarterback, I kind of take them together. If I have, in that range, sometimes I'm like, oh, I need a tight end. Oh, I need a quarterback. You got to kind of stray away from that. Obviously, if you need it and the value's there, take it. But sometimes best player available is the way to go. Let's take a look here. So I'm going to take a look. We got one or two other teams that need a quarterback, you included. Like I said before, I can wait. I can take any of these guys down in this range. One thing to mention is that these sleeper CPUs take backup quarterbacks way earlier than you're thinking they're going to take them. So once you get to that round, you gotta kick it into high gear. So tight ends wise, that's another position that I'm okay waiting. I think there's a lot of depth this year. Let's go ahead and look at RB, right? 3 running backs right now, Saquon, Etienne, A.J. Dillon. Normally, this is kind of where I would take another RB. The only RB I kind of like in this range is Kareem Hunt. Next round, I think I can land a Chase Edmonds. Let's look at wide receiver, because I think Rashad Bateman is being seriously undervalued. He is a wide receiver who is not only the wide receiver 1, he's the wide receiver 1 in that offense. He's the only wide receiver worth mentioning in that offense. Lamar Jackson's got him and Mark Andrews. You bet your ass he's going to put in work this year, and he's being drafted super low. We're going to go ahead and take Bateman here. So after I take Bateman, it goes Ken Walker, Drake London, Gabe Davis, Kareem Hunt, Tony Pollard, Treylon Burks, Devontae Smith, Devin Singletary. And just like I thought, Chase Edmonds does make it back to me. Chase Edmonds, another one of those very, very, very undervalued guys. He's going super, super late in drafts, and he's literally the RB1 on the Dolphins. There's not really much else to say there. I love his upside this year. We're going to go ahead and scoop him. So after I take Edmonds, it goes Russell Wilson, Rashad Penny, Hunter Renfrow, Elijah Moore. Back on you.
Thanks, Jay. One wide receiver I want to talk about for a second with you here is Tyler Lockett. What do you think about Tyler Lockett now that Russell's gone? I think he's useless. I think he depends too much on the deep ball, and I don't think Locke can get him that ball.
So I wouldn't go as far as saying he's useless, right? He's definitely in a horrible situation. Something I would say is I think the talent of Tyler Lockett should not be falling to the 10th round. That's just my personal opinion. Normally you see him go mid-late 10th round, but I don't think that's where his talent should go. There's been rumors of DK Metcalf being traded. If that were ever the case, Tyler Lockett shoots up drafts, in my opinion. Even with the bad quarterback, I think he just shoots right up drafts.
Okay. With that being said, I personally am staying away from Tyler Lockett at least for now. If he can come out and make some moves to impress me, we may try to make a trade for him. But for now, I want to see what's going on there in Seattle. I am going to go ahead with the last pick in the 9th round and take Brandon Ayuk.
Okay.
I love him. I think every time that I ever watch him play, he impresses me.
He had a rocky start last season, but he definitely pulled it out towards the end.
Absolutely. And now I'd like to lean towards a quarterback for the pure fact that, like you did mention, they're going to start taking backup quarterbacks here very soon. Yep. And I don't want to miss the window of, dependable quarterbacks down to people that might be a little rocky.
Yep.
And I'm going to go with my all-time favorite here, guy I've rooted for since I was a kid.
Don't you dare.
As a kid.
Don't you dare, you bastard.
We're going Tom Brady here.
And
as a long-time
really
Patriots fan,
absolutely, we are.
You can't stay away from.
We are Patriots fans, indeed. But that sucks for me. I was kind of hoping you were gonna go Dak. I have Mike Evans. It would have been a great stack. I was 100% taking Tom Brady here at this pick at the 10:06. A great pick on you. Unfortunate. So let's take a look here. Now that he took him, I am a big Dak fan, but personally, I don't see that much of a difference fantasy-wise in Dak Prescott and Matthew Stafford. I think I can take the value here where it is and then land a Matthew Stafford next round. Let's take a look. Wide receivers. Wide receivers I love this year. I think Chris Olave is going to have a big year. Michael Thomas was just put on the PUP list for training camp, like in that preseason area. So we don't know whether or not he will be starting or not. All of the reports have been saying he's trending in the right direction, and then they throw him on the PUP list. So we just don't know with him anymore. So Chris Olave, I think, is going to have a big year. Russell Gage, start of the year, going to be great. I'm not taking another buck, though. I got Mike Evans. Christian Kirk, I talk about him in pretty much every single video. I love Christian Kirk. RBs, you got James Cook, right? Definitely poised for a breakout year, depending on how Devin Singletary plays. Melvin Gordon, one of my favorite running backs to take towards the ends of these drafts because, he had that 60-40 split with Javonte Williams. Say Javonte Williams does get hurt, right? Melvin Gordon showed that he can and will produce. Let's take a look at tight ends. I love Zach Ertz this year. And I don't see an issue with taking him here. I think he's fallen a little bit past his ADP, and we're going to take him. We're going to roll with Zach Ertz here. I like some of the tight end depth later on, but I think he's the best value at the moment. And just like that, see, now the backups start coming, right? So Matthew Stafford goes, unfortunately. You hate to see that. I'm kind of left in a pickle here. You look at QBs, you got Trey Lance. I love Trey Lance. Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins. These are kind of the three that I'm okay starting as my quarterback. I'm not really okay with starting anyone else. Normally, I would go ahead and take Trey Lance here. I think he's the best of the three options. He's got the rushing upside, that the other two do not have. I will go ahead here and take the worst of the three, in my opinion, Kirk Cousins, being that I have the Justin Jefferson stack. I think stacks are super important. You know how many times Justin Jefferson caught a touchdown last year? And you know how many points Kirk Cousins received because of it? Even though he's not the greatest quarterback, he's going to produce. He's going to give you those points that you need with Justin Jefferson. If you don't have Justin Jefferson, if you don't have Thielen as your starting receiver, I don't see a reason to take him over Trey Lance, over Derek Carr. But today we're going to take Kirk Cousins.
Love the pick there, Jay.
Thank you. So it goes Robert Woods, Pat Freiermuth, Ramondre Stevenson, Melvin Gordon. Almost falls all the way back to you. That's kind of crazy.
It does. Now, I do need to start taking some running backs here because I have gone a little heavy on the wide receivers. But I think, what do you think about Michael Carter over on the Jets?
Michael Carter is an interesting case. I think Breece Hall is going to absolutely blow up this year. I'm talking like a Najee type run towards the end, in my opinion. But at the start, we don't know if he's going to have that starting job. So
exactly.
I'm a big believer in Breece Hall, but I can't take Breece Hall as like my RB2, right? I'd have to take him as my RB3, kind of like what Team 6 did. Michael Carter, he's good for that starting run, but, in a case like yours, you have three running backs that you're already starting, right? Do you need a Michael Carter right off the bat? I don't think so, right? But, hey, if you're interested, you do, man.
Now, I think someone that I'm going to lean towards a little bit more this year, someone who I've watched some highlights of, and I really, really am excited to watch play. It's Isaiah Spiller.
Okay.
I think he can do some good things here in the league, and I can't wait to watch that happen. Obviously, he's not someone you'd take much earlier than this, if even here, but I think he's definitely a good option this year.
Absolutely. I mean, that comes back to just injuries, right? Say Austin Eckler does go down, he's got that build for a 3-down back.
Absolutely, Jay. Now, I know I need running backs here, but I'm not really seeing anyone that I like more than Christian Kirk here. We're gonna go ahead and pick up your boy Christian Kirk because I don't think he should be being drafted in the 12th round.
Understandable.
But I can't watch him go by. So
makes 100% sense to me. Yeah. So we got two spots left here. I think there's one running back left on the board that I like more than certain players. Alexander Madison, right? Alexander Madison is that guy, right? It sucks that he's a backup. I think he could take over several starting jobs. You watch highlights of him, and he's just blowing through defenders. Definitely up there for one of the best backups in the league. And he's being drafted below some of the other backups. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. He's proven, right? I think being proven is one of the most important things you can get in a backup QB or in a backup RB. Also, I have Kirk Cousins. Why not take someone else from that Minnesota offense, right? We're going to go ahead and take Alexander Madison here. See what happens. Allen Lazard, Christian Watson, Tyler Boyd, Sky Moore, Alberto, James Robinson, Cole Kmet, Ronald Jones. Now, I heard something with the Denver tight ends. I think his name is Greg Dulcich or something. He's starting to put on a competition with Alberto. So Alberto might not even have that starting job come time for the season. He definitely was one of my underrated tight ends. But hey, if he doesn't have the starting job, there's no point in drafting him in my opinion. So let's take a look here. I got one spot left on the bench. Honestly, I like the wide receivers I have. I love them. Every single one of them, I love them. Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Marquis Brown, Rashad Bateman, right? I love the RBs that I have. I think this is a spot where I can either take an underrated tight end for that depth, or I could take a QB, right? Get a backup QB sometimes. Honestly, sometimes it's not the best, right? Personally, if I were to take one right now, it would be Deshaun Watson. I think even they're kind of bracing for an 8-game suspension is what they're doing with Deshaun Watson right now. I mean, Deshaun Watson is a top 5 QB when he's playing. It's just there's no debate. So if you can get him in the last round and you need a backup QB and you're not super comfortable with your QB, week 8, week 9 when he comes back, I'm starting Deshaun Watson. There's no debate there. I'm not going to go with a QB though. I'm going to go with a backup tight end in Irv Smith Jr. Once again, another piece of that Minnesota offense. It's not great to have this many pieces, but Irv Smith Jr. is definitely poised for a breakout year. I talked about this a little bit before, but Adam Thielen is my favorite NFL player, and I'm a little bit lower on him this year because Irv Smith Jr. takes away from his touchdown dependency, and that's kind of what Adam Thielen is for fantasy. So after I take him, it goes Hunter Henry, Jameson Williams, Dameon Pierce, Rashad White. Up to you. Last pick.
Last pick of the draft. Pressure is on.
Indeed.
I think here we do need to get a little more running back depth. I have, 6 wide receivers, 4 running backs. I think we go ahead and scoop up a 5th wide receiver here. Someone you've been real heavy on all year has been Tyler Algier on Atlanta. I think absolutely, I see exactly where your head's at with him. I need to see him perform. You know what I mean?
Makes 100% sense.
I need to see him go. Someone I have seen go has been Nyheim Hines, and I love Nyheim Hines here in the last pick of the draft. The pure fact that Jonathan Taylor is going to be worked like a dog.
Yep.
And when he needs a breather, Nyheim Hines is going to come in and relieve him and do great things.
Yep.
And I think the Colts are going to have a very run-heavy offense with Jonathan Taylor back there in the backfield, which means to me, when Nyheim Hines comes in, he's probably going to be touching the ball a decent amount. So I'm going to go ahead here and pick Nyheim Hines for the last pick of the draft.
Nice. So let's talk about Nyheim Hines a little bit. He's kind of a player that I like taking towards the end, right? Because, exactly like you said, Jonathan Taylor is going to be worked like a dog. In my opinion, he's a little bit riskier than some of the other running backs on the board. Last year he was very, very inconsistent with Jonathan Taylor in the game, right? You had 3 weeks, I think, where he had more than 15 points. One of them was like a 22-point week or something crazy like that. Everything else he had less than 5, right? Or something like that. He's very, very inconsistent. He does not have the size to be like a Jonathan Taylor. Normally when you see Nyheim Hines, he comes in for that receiving work towards the third, or, on that third down play, right? It's weird to me, right? Nyheim Hines, I loved drafting him at the beginning of this year in my mock drafts, and then slowly but surely I kind of put some pieces together. But hey, you know what? Nyheim Hines is still a great value at the very last pick of the draft. You can't get mad at that.
Absolutely.
Let's go over our teams a little bit here. So I'll start with mine. I love my team, right? Obviously, you gotta love your team. But if you don't love your team, then okay, let's change something up when I'm mock drafting here. But I got Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Marquis Brown, Rashad Bateman as my receivers. Okay, I don't see any problem with my receivers. Do you?
I don't either. I think the receivers are some of the best receivers in the game here.
Yeah, I would definitely say that I got the best value at receivers without even looking at any other team. Taking Rashad Bateman here, taking Marquise Brown here, they're all just great value picks. I'm not hyping myself up or anything, but that's definitely the strongest part of my team. Then you go ahead and take a look at running backs. Saquon, Barkley, Travis Etienne. Two players that last year, Etienne didn't play a single snap and he got drafted in the first round. You got Saquon Barkley, very injury prone. Two players that are extremely risky to be your RB1, RB2. But I'm very high on them this year, so I could not be more happy to have them as my running backs. You got A.J. Dillon on the bench, Chase Edmonds, who I still cannot believe he's going as low as he is, and you get Alexander Madison, right? I got Zach Ertz as my tight end 1, and I've got Irv Smith as the backup. Great breakout potential. And you got Kirk Cousins as the QB 1. Obviously QB is definitely where I'm lacking the most, but like I said before, these people and these auto computers and Sleeper definitely take up backup QBs way too early, so it kind of ruins your draft strategy. But you know what? It's all right. You're not going to see many people in your actual home leagues taking Matthew Stafford when you already have Josh Allen, right? So.
Right, or Dak Prescott when you have Kyler Murray.
No, yeah, exactly. So, all right, let's go ahead and look at your team. How do you feel about it to start?
I love my team.
Okay.
Like you said, you got to love your team, so that's good. I was really, really, really hoping instead of Judy that I got Burrow. I was really, really going for that Burrow Chase stack.
That Burrow pick was way too early.
That Burrow pick was early, and even though mine would be in the same round, I can justify it for the fact that I have the Burrow stack.
Yeah, but also you could have just waited and taken him as the 6th pick, so it would have just been a lower round and make it look a little nicer.
Absolutely could have, and you know what? I probably would have done that. But outside of Jamar Chase, we have Jerry Jeudy, we have Mike Williams, we have Adam Thielen, Ayuk, and Christian Kirk, who we got in the 12th round.
Yeah.
I was really, really surprised by that. I think Kirk, with having one of the highest wide receiver salaries in the league now, he's clearly loved in Jacksonville. I can't wait to see what him and Trevor Lawrence do.
People that are avoiding him don't make any sense to me. In my opinion. They're avoiding him because of talent, and he's not that talentless. He's
right.
He's more talented than some of the people above him. Chase Claypool, he calls himself a top 3 wide receiver in the league, but I mean he's probably one of the worst wide receivers on this list.
Right. So absolutely agree. We go to running backs here. We got Joe Mixon, Leonard Fournette, David Montgomery. 3 running backs I love. Absolutely. I absolutely love all 3 of them. Joe Mixon's got to be one of my favorites here. Isaiah Spiller on the Chargers, Nyheim Hines, who we talked briefly about earlier.
Yeah.
I love my running backs. I think I would have no problem starting, any of them. Isaiah Spiller might be a little risky to start because we haven't seen any production out of him yet.
Right.
But I could definitely see him, being a great backup to Eckler, especially if Eckler goes down. Eckler's someone who I've seen be injured quite often. So.
Oh yeah.
Outside of the running backs, we got T.J. Hawkinson at very good value in my opinion. So we got T.J. and Jay.
Senor Brady.
You've seen Hawkinson. Hawkinson, I love him.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
But like you said, I stole your Brady pick.
Yeah.
I ruined your Evans Brady stack there. But as a Patriots fan my whole life, you can't watch Brady go by.
Absolutely. And let's talk about Hawkinson one last time here, because Hawkinson is in that shaky offense, right? Jared Goff as the QB. That's not appetizing, right?
Right.
We've seen him produce with, Jared Goff before, though, so you can't be too upset about it. He is that big body. He is that target that you need.
And I think when Jared Goff's in trouble, he's going to look to Hawkinson. He's a big body. He's someone that can bail Goff out when he's in a problem. And, Goff, in my opinion, doesn't really have much deep threat.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He has a couple guys, but, Hawkinson, I think, is going to be someone that he really depends on to get the ball down the field and get those first downs.
Yep. The only thing I will say is, as much as they are kind of like mid-tier receivers, they have a lot of mid-tier receivers right now. So
Absolutely.
It's really tough to kind of split the ball between all of them. You're just kind of taking a chance here that T.J. Hawkinson is going to get the most of the targets. But,
Right.
You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, you got DJ Chark and Jameson Williams, all very, very, in my opinion, mid-tier. Honestly, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the highest of the three.
Right.
But
Now, Jameson Williams, let's talk about him for a second. He's coming off an ACL tear, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. So he's not going to be starting for a little bit, but
Right. He tore his ACL in the Georgia-Bama game in the championship. I was watching it right here in this seat.
yeah.
Obviously, my Bulldogs won, thank God. But that was tough. That was tough to see. You see an up-and-coming wide receiver, even though he's on the opposing team, the team I want to see lose. You don't want to see anyone get hurt.
Right,
Especially someone
so
going to the league, someone so talented.
Yep.
And so much ahead of him. It's tough to see, but luckily it looks like he's, recovering well, and he should be a great threat in this NFL.
Absolutely.
I think.
And let's talk about one last thing before we end it here. Just as a question for you, if Jalen Waddle had fallen to you, would you have taken Jalen Waddle as your wide receiver 2 over Jerry Jeudy? Just a thought. Absolutely.
Okay. Hands down, I would have taken Jalen Waddle over Jerry Jeudy.
I'm glad you made the right decision there.
Absolutely. Looking back, Jerry Jeudy isn't my favorite pick.
Yeah.
But I like him more than Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper in Dallas.
Because he was Yeah, true. I get what you're saying 100%. But Amari Cooper with Jacoby Brissett right now, not appetizing. Now, because he was a little bit farther down the list, you might not have seen him. But if Marquis Brown was a little bit higher on that list, do you think you may have taken Marquis Brown, Mike Williams over Jerry Jeudy, Mike Williams?
I think I would have had to think about that.
Yeah.
Because
Marquis
Brown is a great wide receiver. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But he's in a new offense with a new quarterback.
For sure.
Although I will say Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson play fairly similar, in my opinion, in the run game and the quick dump passes. I think he'll catch on well in Arizona.
Okay.
But Jerry Jeudy is someone who has been comfortable in Denver for at least a year now.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's going to step in as a senior guy and be able to throw the balls where they need to be thrown. And Jerry Jeudy has the young talent that I think that Denver can rely on.
Yeah. I just kind of thought of something a little bit. The Cardinals this year, I don't think they're going to do that well. Just a weird feeling, Yeah, they always start hot and then just completely fall off. And I don't even think they're going to start that hot this year. In my opinion, I'm looking at an upgraded quarterback version of the Bears. That, in a weird way, right? You got a tight end that you can throw to, and you have one wide receiver you can throw to in the beginning. You got Darnell Mooney, you got Cole Kmet. And in the beginning of the year here, you got Marquise Brown, you got Zach Ertz, with Kyler Murray being an upgraded version of Justin Fields. He's mobile, and he's just like Justin Fields, but he's paid a hell of a lot more, I can tell you that much.
He's also a lot smaller than Justin Fields. Justin Fields is a big man.
He's a big dude, yep. But, other than Marquise Brown, Zach Ertz, you got, an aging A.J. Green and Rondale Moore. The Bears obviously have a little bit worse with their, their depth. You got Byron Pringle and, Velus Jones Jr.
Who even are they?
Right. You got Velus Jones Jr. who got, pulled in as a rookie who's older than, half the league. You got N'Keal Harry. They just got, they got nobody over there, right? Yep. The Bears are in shambles. Both of their O-lines are god-awful, right? It's I just see the Cardinals this year as like a slightly upgraded version of the Bears, and I think the Bears have one of the worst teams in the league this year. So
I would totally agree with you.
you know, I think this has been a great video. You know, we both drafted great teams. I really appreciate you making it out to me, you know, coming, showing your appreciation here on the channel. You're in the comments all the time, so.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a great time talking football with you here.
Absolutely.
And best of luck to you in fantasy this year, buddy.
Absolutely. Enjoy, guys.